That's one long strain.
Elaborate.
Why?
Because, I think it's two. I think it's one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one thing because generally it's your body trying to push out whatever's fucking up with your system. That's how it's trying to drain it out. And if it takes 2 times to go through it, that's still one instance of it trying to get rid of said disease or whatever.
I think you can have diarrhea all day. It's just one diarrhea.
Yeah, it's just one stint of it. It's not like
one run of diarrhea.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're on the same page. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Hard Reset, a Cold North production. I am your host, Patrick the Law Morris. Joining me this week, we have the tenacious Tim Miller for a friendly fireside chat.
Hello there.
Don't forget to check out our website, coldnorthpro.com, for everything we do all in one spot, including our movies podcast, No Refunds, the podcast that watches bad movies so you don't have to.
Also, you said fireside chat. If your house is on fire, you might want to get out, dude. Just saying.
Fireside. I'm fire at Jace. The parking lot outside, I can see it from my window, in flames, completely engulfed.
Nice. Very nice.
So I am fireside. So we're good. Don't worry.
Nah.
And then, we have a lot to discuss tonight. Lots and lots to talk about, including Sony's second state of play, a walkout at Riot Games, EA Access breaking some new ground, the recent Psyonix acquisition, and our very own unpopular opinions. But before we get to all of that, I want to talk about what we've been playing this week. So, Tim, tell me what you've been playing this week.
Well, I'm on vacation right now, so I only have my Switch with me, so I've been playing Smash Bros. A ton.
All right. And do you have all the characters unlocked?
I do. Well, now I do. I just finished World of Light for the second time, and I missed a few characters the first time through. So,
for the second time?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, man, it's great.
Oh, that's insane. Because doesn't World of Light take 30 hours?
Yeah, it takes quite a long time to go through it. But I've had nothing but time this week, so it's been nice.
All right. I mean, hey, man, I'm not going to judge how you want to spend your time, your vacation. That's insane.
I did go fishing today. That's something, but it's not gaming related, so I didn't mention it.
Oh, there you go. You played a real-life game.
Yep. I did not catch anything.
So, you're on vacation.
Yep.
Obviously, you take your Switch with you.
Of course.
Here's a question for you, though. I know that you're a big Nintendo fan. We all, honestly, if anyone has listened to this podcast, we all know that you're a big Nintendo fan. Do you still carry your 3DS with you?
No.
No, not at all?
Not at all.
Really?
Yeah, I've put it away. It's on my shelf. I haven't taken it out in 4 or 5 months.
That's very interesting to me.
I think the 3DS is probably dead too. I think they're going to be phasing out within the next 1 or 2 years and just have the Switch be the main handheld.
Yeah, I think 3DS is definitely on knocking on death's door. It's had a good life. It was rocky at the start, but it's had a good time. But it's interesting to me because I'm still finding myself going to my DS. Well, I have a 2DS XL. Going to my 2DS XL more often than I actually go to my Switch, which I think is interesting. And as far as the one that always comes with me in my bag, it's always my 2DS XL. I don't take my Switch with me anymore because I was finding that Switch is great, and I have a video on this coming up, but it's too big to be a handheld.
Yeah, as a handheld, I can definitely agree with you, but I have the Switch backpack, and that thing goes with me everywhere, so I can
that
just
makes sense.
fit it in the pocket. good to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and that's actually a really cool backpack too. I'm a big backpack guy, but no, that makes total sense. But I don't know. I think that's why I'm so excited at the prospect of like a Switch Flip or like a Switch Mini. If they were to make a Switch that were like basically the body of a 2DS XL and just put like 2 of the slider sticks on it and make the bottom half the controls and the top half the screen, that's a Switch I would be all over.
That'd definitely be interesting to see.
And like all these rumors of a Switch Mini, I'm hoping that that's what we get.
Yeah, some of the pictures that we've seen, I don't know if I trust them yet, but I'm sure we'll see something at E3 if Nintendo has anything new coming our way.
Interestingly enough, they actually said on an investor call that they will not be showing hardware at E3.
Really?
Now, that happened last week. That doesn't mean that they won't be showing hardware literally any other time.
This is true.
And so, maybe it's something, because typically investor calls, like, I don't think that they would throw a red herring out there on an investor call. But it would be really interesting to see, like, when would they drop that? When would they announce that information? And could it possibly be literally the day before E3 and just really steal the headlines immiterly?
Yeah, I don't think that's Nintendo's style, though. They're not one for that kind of flair to go for that. Especially when Sony's not even going to be there this year. Yeah. Like, I don't see any reason for them to, especially when they've been partnering with Microsoft for the longest time. Honestly, I'd be surprised if we don't see like Nintendo stuff or Microsoft stuff in each other's presentation or vice versa.
Yeah. So that would be really interesting to see. And like, it's interesting because, no pun intended, Nintendo doesn't really play games like that. They don't like play the whole like, oh, we got to steal the news cycle game.
Nah, they're just, we're Nintendo, we're going to do our thing, and whatever. We're still going to make money.
They just do what they want. But in college, I actually wrote a pretty lengthy, like my capstone paper for contemporary economics was regulated duopoly or regulated triopoly. And so basically my argument was, if there is one major player in a market or in an industry that is just absolutely dominating, should it be considered against antitrust law? Should it be illegal for the other to a respect team up and fight the big guy? And what I wrote about in college was the wireless industry. So Verizon being the giant, and T-Mobile and Sprint teaming up to basically fight Verizon together. And that's kind of what we're seeing now with the Nintendo and Microsoft partnership that you mentioned earlier. And so I think that it's really interesting. I think it'll be interesting if we start to hear talk of antitrust law coming into effect with how cozy Nintendo and Microsoft are getting together.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll come up more once Xbox Live's on Switch, or Game Pass is on Switch, whenever the heck that does come around.
Yeah. At that point, man, they're really blurring those lines.
Yeah.
Honestly, at that point, basically Nintendo makes a handheld and Microsoft makes a home console, and they just use each other's stuff as like, this is Microsoft's handheld division, and this is Nintendo's home console division.
Yep.
I don't know.
Could definitely see that.
I think that when we'll really be able to finally say that definitively is when we see Zelda on Xbox.
Ooh. That's going to be a stretch.
Yeah, but like every day that Nintendo and Microsoft get more warm fuzzies for each other, I think maybe it could happen.
Yeah, we'll see. We don't know what the future will hold.
No, we don't. So, man, we got way off topic there. I have been playing. So I actually went back to Red Dead Redemption 2 this week, and did you play that one at all?
No, I have. Well, I haven't played the remake. I've played the original.
No, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, I thought you said Resident Evil. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you.
No, Red Dead Redemption 2.
But yeah, I played that game for maybe an hour or two. I never finished it.
Oh, okay. So I played it for like, I would say 12 hours my first time around. And it was like, I could tell why it was so impressive, but I just wasn't thrilled with it. It just didn't like hook me for some reason. But then like just the other day I was like, I'm going to try out Red Dead Redemption 2 again. And holy fuck, that game is so good. Like, that game is amazing.
See, my biggest problem with it was that it felt like it took way too long to get anything done, and it wasn't rewarding in the least when you did. At least that's what it felt like to me. Like, spending 30 minutes to go hunt one animal for one pelt that wasn't going to cost anything, wasn't going to make anything out of it. It just didn't feel rewarding. So,
yeah, I agree. I think that it's, I don't know. It's tough to say because I think that like one of the biggest problems with the game is the open world nature of the game. But at the same time, that's kind of Rockstar's shtick, right? But I've been playing it this time around in a much more linear fashion of basically I just go straight to the mission and I'm not doing like side quests or like hunts or anything. I'm just doing the main line. Like I'm mainlining this game hard, and it's really enjoyable. Like the character moments, the world feels really empty because it's like the West, the Old West. But if you're sticking to the story, it's really, really good. The character moments of like, just something is like, I found myself, I was like just beaming at the level or the like mission where Arthur takes Jack fishing. And then I like stepped back and I was like, wait, I'm like thrilled by a man taking a little kid fishing in this game. And the reason that I'm so psyched on it is because of the character development and the character interactions and like hearing the back and forth between Arthur and Jack and seeing a much softer side of Arthur.
That's fair.
It's a really cool game. I'm way into it. I might start streaming it. I don't know. It's a very personal game as far as story goes. So yeah, I've been playing Red Dead. It's pretty lit, as the kids would say.
Do kids say that? I wouldn't know.
I think they do. But
I'm sure there'd be some variant of yeet in there too. But
yeet. So
yep.
That takes us to our newly named news segment, The News It Now.
News it now. News it now.
Show. It's the news
show. We even have new intros.
What? No one told me that.
I know. It's okay. I'm talking over it right now.
Dope.
So, this week in the news, Sony has announced via Twitter their second State of Play will be May 9th. Now, that's tomorrow. And their tweet mentioned that we would be getting another look at the Medieval remake. Interesting.
Which is awesome.
I guess. I didn't ever play the original, so.
It's a fantastic game.
Okay, so
absolutely fantastic.
So you're psyched on playing the remake?
If the remake looks good enough, and if this state of play makes it look good enough.
I think that this state of play could be the one where they come out and they're like, "Yep, we know that the last one was boring, but here we are. This like, kind of getting their sea legs a little bit, showing us what it can be."
I hope they do, because God, if they've messed this one up, I doubt anyone's going to pay attention to the next one.
If they mess this one up, I'm not sure there would be a next one.
Yeah.
So, but they also announced a previously unannounced game. So they'll be showing us a new game altogether. Now, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think this game could be?
I honestly have no fucking clue.
Okay. So I have a theory.
I'm just hearing about it right now. Like, I want to say maybe Uncharted, because we haven't had one of those in a few years. Maybe a new Infamous, because again, we haven't had one of those in a few years.
Okay. So I don't think Uncharted. I pray to Jesus Uncharted is dead. But and I don't think Infamous, because Sucker Punch has been pretty hard at work on Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, that's true. That looks good.
That looks great. I'm so psyched for that. It looks like Sekiro, but not punishing.
Yeah, so actually enjoyable.
Yeah. No, I actually really like Sekiro. But
so do I. I'm just giving it shit.
Right. So I hold on one second.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sorry about that. No, so I have a theory. And my theory is that a B team at Insomniac was taken off of Spider-Man towards the end of development, maybe a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago. And they spun up a follow-up to the 2016 Ratchet and Clank game. And after the Spider-Man DLC was all done, now they've got the full force of the studio on it, and they're balls to the wall on the next Ratchet and Clank.
I'd love to see a new Ratchet and Clank. That'd be amazing.
I loved the 2016 game. I would love to see them do another one.
Yeah, 2016 was a really good remake.
It was. And honestly, it was...
Did you see the movie at all?
So I started to watch the movie on Netflix and I fell asleep.
Yeah, that's about the same for me.
It was boring as shit. But the game was fantastic. So it was, I don't know. I would love to see another one, especially since the 2016 game, in my opinion, really pushed the limit of a lot like Resident Evil 2 did, of can we even call this a remake, because it's so different. So
yeah, it's hard to say, especially it followed the basis story of, okay, we're taking parts of other planets to build our new planet, but other than that, all the levels were pretty much redesigned. I think a couple of them were reimagined. I did recognize some of them. But yeah, it was so far different that you're right. It's kind of hard to tell it a remastering instead of just a whole new game.
Right.
But it had so many of the same story elements that I still have to put it under the remastered, remade class.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you'd classify it as.
It's definitely a remake. Okay, if it's not a new game, it's definitely a remake, because there's no way that we can to call that game a remaster would not be doing it not be doing it justice.
That's very fair.
But in the event that they are working on a new Ratchet and Clank game, do you think that we are getting, say, another remake in the vein of 1, just they're remaking 2, Or do you think they would be making something like a sequel to, because they got really wacky on the PS3. But do you think that maybe they would be making a sequel and like retconning and basically cutting it after Ratchet and Clank 3 and making a Ratchet and Clank 4?
I mean, possibly. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd like to see Going Commander remade, but I don't think they need to follow the exact same story setup. They've already got a bunch of new stuff that they can like explore, that they didn't have in the original. I'm forgetting their names, but
Up Your Arsenal.
No, not the game. Characters within it. The space cops. I can't fucking remember their names.
Oh, the Galactic Rangers.
Thank you.
Space cops.
Space cops. Yep, that's what they are. They're space cops.
Yeah, that's so I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping that they show us a new Ratchet and Clank. Like, realistically, that's a game I think that they might bring tomorrow. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to.
I wouldn't mind it, although I also wouldn't mind a new Jak and Daxter, but I know that's not happening, especially considering we have The Last of Us 2 coming.
Well, okay, so that's another really good question, because we always, like, people, it's perfectly reasonable to want another Jak and Daxter. And I actually really, so I listened to, I used to listen to, P.S. I Love You XOXO with, Colin Moriarty and Greg, oh God, I forget his last name. But they were talking, the very first episode of that I listened to, they were talking about why you don't want a Jak 4. And they were saying Naughty Dog is blah blah blah, like Naughty Dog is so creatively great, and like you don't want them to go back to something that like, and it's like, no, actually I fucking do. Like, you can, I had, this is my beef with something that I listened to on the internet 2 years ago, but man, 3 years ago now. But no, so it's okay to want a Jak 4. I don't think that, like, I would even want a Naughty Dog Jak 4. I don't think that Naughty Dog would make Jak 4, but I also don't think Naughty Dog would make Crash 5 or Crash 4. But I think that Crash 4 could happen. I just think it would be a Vicarious Visions game at this point. And so maybe seeing a different studio take over Jak, and like a studio that really has a lot of love for the character, a lot like Toys for Bob did with Spyro and Vicarious Visions did for Crash, maybe see a different studio take the reins and we could get a Jak 4. That would be really cool.
It'd be interesting to see, but I mean, there's no rumors or anything out about it, so it's not like I have anything to go off right now, sadly.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that the PS4 is really like, the heavy hitters have been announced and it's had its day. Like we had, God of War was last year and Spider-Man was last year, and we got the Gran Turismo game, and the PS4 is winding down. And we're kind of in this really cool place with the PS4 where we can start getting these really cool, like, B-level games. Not to say that as any sort of discredit to the games, but to get these smaller experiences that are still really, really desirable. So something along the lines of Jak would be, I think, totally fall in line with that.
Now, have they announced anything else about their state of play, or is it just going to be Medieval in that new game? I know it's only supposed to be about 10 to 15 minutes, according to what they've said so far.
So all they've said that absolutely will be there is Medieval and a new game. But
okay.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited for tomorrow. I'm excited to see what they spit out. I really hope it's not another thing like Iron Man VR. Even though I've heard Iron Man VR is really cool.
I mean, it was getting shit on at first, but I think people frowned.
Yeah, I think people are coming around. So, in other news, The employees over at Riot Games, the development studio behind the ridiculously popular MOBA, League of Legends, maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah, my cousin actually works for them.
Oh, really? Okay, so this will be
she
even
does.
more interesting. They've walked out.
Yeah.
So Kotaku has reported that the employees have walked out to protest the company's practice of forcing lawsuits into private arbitration. So a lot of employees have brought suit against the company, and the original lawsuits were based around alleged pervasive sexism at the studio. So, and also like the reason for the protest is a feeling of insufficient response to these problems. This is a big deal. Like, I know it's not like sexy news like a new game, but like this is a big deal.
Yeah, mistreatment in the workplace, especially for a game that's still one of the most popular free games on the internet right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is big.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that there's so much, like, supposedly wrong behind the scenes makes me wonder if this doesn't go over well, is League of Legends done? Like, are we going to get constant updates for it? Are we going to be getting new champions monthly? Are the servers still going to be able to support everything if no one's going to be there to work for them?
Exactly.
The only problem I see is that they're so big at this point is that they could just put out new postings and people would be like, oh, it's Riot Games, it's League of Legends, I could go work for them, I've played the game.
Yeah, that's like how quickly do you think they could lift and shift people into those roles? And I think that could potentially be a problem. But you're right that this is a big thing of like for the industry in general, as far as just pressure. And we heard a lot about crunch in the lead up to Red Dead Redemption 2. We heard about some of the writing staff working, like some of the senior writing staff working 100-hour weeks, and nobody should be doing that. Like,
no, 40 hours a week, like maximum, dude.
Exactly.
No one needs to work more than that.
Exactly. So as a person that's recently had this like revelation of basically your employer doesn't care about you, so you should like care about yourself. At like 100-hour work weeks, even if you have your dream job, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Like, that's not. Pay attention to what like really matters in life. Pay attention to your family and to your friends, and yeah, work is important, and especially if you love your work. But like crunch is like Rockstar came under a lot of heat in like last fall because of the crunch conditions at Rockstar, and you know, I'm not sure how serious these allegations are about pervasive sexism, but apparently serious enough that people are walking out over it. So
if it was big enough for enough people to walk out to make news, then something's obviously going on.
Yeah.
Because that many people would have walked out if there was like not.
Well,
if it was like a small incident, I don't think so many people would have walked out if it was just like one person feeling that way. But obviously it's not.
So, counterpoint and purely playing devil's advocate here, not trying to take an actual stance of my own. With the Me Too movement, there have been like Me Too basically has become a thing that you can just say about someone that you don't like, and it'll basically stop them in their tracks. Upward momentum is killed by someone saying Me Too. Some people could argue that. And so maybe this has momentum, but like maybe the momentum is justified. But at the same time, there have been a lot of things, a lot of political things that people are sharing around on social media. And again, just playing devil's advocate here, but there have been a lot of political things that people are sharing on social media saying, hey, you know, like people are able to pat themselves on the back And for 2 years, the Mueller investigation was this like totally legitimate, absolutely like just down to the letter truth. And then he came out and he said, there's not like, it doesn't exonerate him, but I don't feel comfortable with indictment either. And suddenly the progressives in the country really flipped on Mueller and said, well, that investigation was bullshit. We need to keep looking. And it's kind of like, there's like, it's my point is it's pretty easy to get momentum moving on especially political things, like something as politically charged as sexism in the workplace.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are gonna be going towards whatever way they feel. If it doesn't help their agenda, they're not gonna worry about it. If it does, then they're gonna take part.
Exactly.
That's how people are, unfortunately, and just got to take everything with a grain of salt. I hope personally that this isn't true. I hope that they would have a little bit more class than this, but if it's become this big of a problem, right, there needs to be an investigation done.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I would say, believe and verify. Like, believe them, take allegations seriously, but just go, verify, investigate, and treat all parties equally, treat all parties fairly. And if there's an allegation, especially one this big, investigate. Let's figure it out. So, but last question on this one. Do you think this is going to set a new precedent for the rest of the industry? Because this could, I think that this could be a huge step towards unionizing the industry, which is something that definitely needs to happen.
Now, I think it will depend on how this turns out. Let's say it does come out that it officially has been happening. The courts do side with the employees that have walked out. Then I think something will be done. But if nothing's found, these allegations turn out to be just a load of hooey, and it was just a bunch of workers that were just fed up and walked out, then I don't think as much will come from it.
Yeah, and so, but then, I mean, on the flip side of that, even if it was a bunch of workers that were just fed up and walked out, I think that's because even if it's nothing that's explicitly illegal, if an employer is treating their employees bad enough, not even treating them bad, just like if there's no promotions, if there's not adequate pay, if the overtime is too demanding, or like the expectations are bad, if they're creating a bad working environment, then maybe employees getting up and saying fuck this and walking away is a good thing. And maybe them all doing it together. I think that if that's the case, then they should be saying, yeah, this is why. And so I definitely still want to hear out their allegations, and I want to I want people to be looking into that. But I don't know. I think the industry needs to unionize, because there's a lot of people being taken advantage of, because it's a ridiculously lucrative industry.
That's very fair.
So now on to some less serious topics. The Verge has reported that EA Access, which is EA's unlimited game subscription, is coming to PS4 in July. Now, just like the Xbox service, Xbox Game Pass, EA Access allows subscribers to download from a wide variety of EA games, and all at a monthly fee, and play them unlimited, all at a monthly or annual fee. Now, just like on the Xbox, where this program has actually been in place for a couple of years now, it'll cost $5 a month or $30 a year. Now, this is okay. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, how do you feel about those prices?
I think the $30 a year is definitely worth it, especially if you're really EA games like Madden. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Let's go with Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
If you're into that kind of thing and you you just want to download, you don't want to pay the full $60 for every game, but you can get multiple games from EA. Like, I can definitely see it being worth it. Personally, for me, I only ever play Madden once in a 5 years period, and we don't play enough Battlefront 2 to warrant it. So,
and well, yeah, and so I think that for the people that are playing a lot of, like, particularly the sports games, the people that are playing FIFA, Madden, and NHL every single year, I think that this is a no-brainer for those people. For the people that aren't playing those games every year, or the people that are, I mean, like Battlefield 5, I might be interested in this for, even though I heard that's a pretty bad game. But
that's right. They do Battlefield. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they do Battlefield. They do The Sims. They do Need for Speed. Like, I might subscribe to this for a year.
Okay. I forgot those games are under the EA license, but yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you, put Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on there. Sold.
Oh, God. Get out of here with that.
You know you like that game. That's a good game. Also, interestingly enough, the Xbox version, very hard to find.
Didn't know that.
It's one that's been on my list for well over a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that this is definitely a really good value depending on who you are and what you play. But how do you think that they're going to handle cross-platform? So if you pay for EA access on Xbox, are you just going to be able to sign in on PlayStation and you pay once and you get them both?
I should be able to. At least if it were me thinking that, I would certainly think that I'd want to be able to. It's a service that's given through EA, and if it's on both platforms, I should be able to choose what platform I want to use my subscription on when I want to use it.
Yeah, I mean, that would make a lot of sense. So, okay, so they're presumably all multi-plat games. So they're probably all going to, like, PS4 and Xbox are probably going to have the same selection of games. But so it would make sense to just have one account, pay once, and you can play it on the platform you want.
But capitalism and consumerism says that it will be a separate subscription for both services.
Exactly. And it's EA, and they love money.
Yes, they do. They're pretty much dicks about it.
They are not shy about how much they love money. So I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see that shake out. I think I'll probably subscribe for a year.
The former is what I would prefer, but the latter is what I see happening. And depending on what that is, might or might not make me subscribe.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see how it shakes out. I'm on the fence. Speaking of money grubbing companies, Epic Games has acquired the Rocket League developer Psyonix.
Yeah, I heard about that earlier this week, and that kind of makes me sad because I like Rocket League as just like a fun little play around game. But now that Epic has got it, I have a feeling they're going to try to revive it. They're going to make, or at least try to make an esport out of it the way that they have. I don't know. I just feel like it's gonna create an even more toxic community than there already is for that game.
So I'm not sure that I would call the community toxic. I think the community has really died down. It's simmered down to the point where it's like the people left playing it are the really hardcore. The people that really love Rocket League. And like Rocket League was my game of the year 2015. It was fantastic. And it, like, honestly, Rocket League wouldn't be where it is today if they hadn't given it away on PS Plus the day it was released. And so, like, it made this huge splash. It jumped into the public eye in 2015. I think it was actually June of 2015. But I think that where there are a few things that kind of have a big old question mark on them right now. The main one being, what's going to happen with Steam? Because a lot of people own this game on Steam. And I'm assuming that it's just not going to be sold on Steam anymore.
I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled it and moved it from Steam and then moved it to Epic Games. Those who've already bought it on Steam will have it, but that'll be it.
I agree. And so they've said that they plan to continue to support the Steam version. But I think that quote unquote support will eventually just taper down until it's basically just like there's no point in even having it. And it forces people to go over to Epic Games Store and buy it and play it there.
Yeah, I really hope not. I really hope Epic Games dies soon, honestly. I really do.
Well, they have Fortnite money, which is 2 or 3 tiers above fuck you money, so
yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, they ain't going away anytime soon, no matter.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it, but
yeah.
I don't know. If they could get their heads out of their asses, maybe we'd come to an understanding, but until then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, Steam has gotten so complacent, and Steam has become antiquated as a result of not having anyone to compete with. And Epic is giving developers a better cut of the revenue than Steam is, like a significantly better cut. And so Epic is coming out and they're doing a lot of good things. They just need to fix their fucking platform because their platform is full of security holes. And that just isn't acceptable, especially in today's basically computer-centered world.
Yeah, if my information is not going to be safe, why would I want to be putting my information to buy this game that I can only get from you?
Exactly. So, I don't know. But then another question on my mind about this is, how is console support going to play out?
For Rocket League?
Yeah. Do you think that they're going to continue to support console versions to the same extent that the game has been so far?
I don't see why not. I mean, when it comes to Fortnite, everything's still getting updated on a regular basis, so I don't see why
I guess that's
they
true.
wouldn't.
That's a really good precedent. You're right. I'm with you on that. All right, sold.
Easy.
So that takes us. That's the news this week. News at Now is what that segment is called officially now. And that takes us to the topic of the show. So this week, we're talking about some unpopular opinions. It's not going to be a long discussion, I would imagine, but we're going to, I hope Tim came prepared. We're going to talk about some unpopular opinions we have around video games and why we feel that way. So, Tim, if you have any, let's start with you.
The Sonic movie is going to be worth going to see.
Okay. Explain yourself.
Okay, so Jim Carrey descending into madness over the course of an hour and a half is going to be just hilarious in itself, especially now that they're going to be fixing Sonic, and it's not going to be a shit show. Like, they've continually proved they're trying to make it. Now they're finally realizing that we're not okay with it. Hopefully they come up with something somewhat decent, and if not, I'm going to be laughing the entire way to the bank. So,
wow. Yeah. So I listened back to the podcast from last week and I realized that I didn't say this last week. I said devil's advocate here and then I was sidetracked. But I didn't think the trailer was terrible. I thought, and like, maybe it's because I hate Sonic. Maybe it's because I just can't stand Sonic. And so like seeing something that was so absolutely not Sonic, I just didn't give a fuck about it. It was just like, I don't care that like the character model was terrible. And like, I would like to see him look more like he does in the games. But honestly, I don't feel like there's none of that like childhood nostalgia that's being violated by that movie to me. It just looks like a kid's movie that's gonna be somewhat enjoyable along the lines of like Rio or the Pink Panther. Like, it just looks like it's just going to be okay. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a video game movie. We can't expect it to be anything great. Honestly, none of them truly are.
Whoa. Rampage.
Hey, this is not
This is not no
refunds. Can wait to talk about that one.
Yeah, so no, I agree. It's video game movies thus far have set a pretty resounding precedent.
Low bar.
Yes. They're pretty bad.
Yep.
So
interesting. I'm still probably gonna end up seeing it just because it's gonna be laughably funny, like at how bad it's gonna be. So I'm interested to see how bad they can make it.
Are you gonna see it in theaters?
Possibly. Depends on how lazy I'm feeling that week when it comes out.
All right. I can actually get on board with you on that unpopular opinion.
All right.
I think that it's not going to be as bad as people are saying it's going to be. So, one of my unpopular opinions, I hope you have a handful more because, we have some discussion. But one of my unpopular, I don't like RPGs. I just think that they're pretty fucking boring. And there's just like, no one has done one. That's not true. CD Projekt Red did a pretty good one in Witcher 3, but to me, there isn't one that I think is really, really great where you like create your own character and live out this, like, you really role play. I think that the experience just isn't deep enough yet, and so I'm not a fan of RPGs. Sue me. There are some that are really good, but other than that, like, on the whole, as soon as you start introducing RPG elements in a game, man, fucking check me out. I'm gone.
Man, see, I love my like old school JRPGs, like all that turn-based kind of stuff from like the 90s. Final Fantasy initially, Chrono Trigger, all sorts of games like that. I love all that. Even Earthbound is a great RPG, but like for me, I think it all kind of culminated to Tales of Symphonia, which is probably like one of my highest and probably my favorite out of all the RPGs I've ever played. Anything past that, I just haven't cared for. Like Skyrim, I think I've maybe made it to level 20. I've never beaten that. Elder Scrolls Online, I don't think we played for very long. Trying to think of any like other big RPGs lately, but
our time during Elder Scrolls Online was actually before we met you. So I put hundreds of hours into Elder Scrolls Online, but not because it was an RPG, but because it was an MMO.
That's fair.
So I actually put like a lot of time into ESO, but I did that because it was an MMO. So I don't know. I'm yet to be convinced that RPGs, like, I'm yet to be shown an RPG where I really feel like the character and I really feel like I'm role playing a role. They're so the ones that are like, yeah, create your own character and it's you, are like, they're too shallow. And I'm thinking like Skyrim, I'm thinking Fallout. Those games are too shallow. And then, but like, then once you've gotten into like games like The Witcher 3, where it's like, you're not playing you're playing Geralt, or, fuck, I'm trying to think of another off the top of my head. But like Witcher 3, you're not playing you're playing Geralt. It's a very, very story focused game that happens to have RPG elements. So I don't know. I'm not a fan. Do you have just one more for us, Tim?
Do I have one more for you? Sadly, right now, I'm hard pressed to think of one. But give me a couple minutes, and I'm sure I'm sure something will pop in my head.
So I've got one. I don't like crafting systems. Fuck
really?
Crafting systems. Like, oh, but it makes it so customizable. Fuck that. I don't care. Like, I'm not here to craft a bunch of shit. I'm here to do what God of War did. God of War, I think, hit that perfect balance of like just enough of like the customization. You can get armor, like badass armor and stuff. But really the main focus of that game is the combat and the story. And like that's what I'm here for is the gameplay, the combat, the story. I mean, I don't want to min-max a fucking character. I don't want to like stat boost and whatever. I don't want to play a spreadsheet. I don't want to play Excel. I want to play a story, an adventure, and fun gameplay. So, fuck crafting systems.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with you on that one. I mean, in terms of The Last of Us, I feel like the crafting system, like in terms of...
That one, it was like, so simple.
Yeah, and even that I didn't care for.
Yeah, like that one and Alien Isolation also come to mind. Of like, it was so simple, but even those, it was like, it was unnecessary. It's like, have me just find these things.
Like, yep. And then, I mean, crafting in any MMO, like, I don't think I've ever gotten above, like, level 100 in any in World of Warcraft. In all the years that I've played it, I don't think I ever did anything with that because it just bored the hell out of me. I'd rather just go kill things.
Exactly. And that's where I stand, is I don't like crafting systems. And Minecraft, I put like 10 hours in, and it was okay, and it was like fine. But I didn't think Minecraft was great.
Let's just say this, I haven't played it long enough to become a redstone master, so yeah, I'm kind of with you there on that.
Yeah, the redstone. All right, Tim, do you have one more unpopular opinion for us? Or are we moving on to trivia?
I'm trying to think, because I want to mention something, but I'm not sure if it's an unpopular opinion.
Let's have it. I'll tell you if it's unpopular.
All right. PlayStation controllers up until the PS4 sucked.
That's not unpopular. PlayStation controllers up until the PS4 were terrible. Like, the original PlayStation controller was good because of what it was being compared to. Because it was being compared to the Super Nintendo controller. And like, it was good. And then the N64 controller came out, and even with the like N64 controller having 3 handles, it was still better than the PlayStation controller because it had a joystick. But then, like, because it had an analog stick. But then Sony released the DualShock, which had dual analog sticks. And that was the last time the PlayStation controller was the top dog until the DualShock 4.
And the problem with that is that they just kept the same sticks in it from the DualShock 1 and didn't change anything.
They kept the same sticks. They kept almost the same angles. They kept the same button layout. They kept, like, everything about it was the same for 15
years.
Yeah.
15 years.
Well, 16 or maybe even 17, because when did the DualShock come out? Like 97?
I want to say it was 97 or 98.
Yeah, 97 or 98. So it was 15 or 16 years. They didn't change that controller. And that's just unacceptable.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't think that that's a particularly unpopular opinion, but it's also not a bad one to ever take a moment to shame Sony for that.
Yeah, you've got a good point there.
So yeah, fuck the DualShock 3. Fuck the 6-axis. Fuck the DualShock 2 with its stupid-ass pressure-sensitive buttons. God, that thing's...
Oh, you know what? I've got another one.
All right, let's hear it.
Recent zombie games are not fun.
trying to think.
Last of Us for me was not fun.
Ooh.
That's probably a very unpopular opinion. I think The Last of Us sucks.
Yeah, there you go. That's an unpopular opinion. And I cannot disagree more. The Last of Us.
I know you can't. We've had plenty of discussions on this.
Unbelievable. Did you finish it?
I did. I hated every second of it.
Wow. It was so good.
Yeah, the story was fine, but the gameplay was just terrible. Like,
the gameplay was okay.
It was bad enough to the point where I was just like dreading the rest of the game, and I didn't care about the story at that point, and I stopped paying attention.
Wow. Okay, yeah. I guess so. In my opinion, the gameplay is not what I play The Last of Us for. I play The Last of Us for the story. But the gameplay was like, if it's not engaging enough to carry you through the game, to like carry you to the next parts of the story, then yeah, I can't blame you for losing interest.
I was literally just finishing it to say that I finished it to you guys. That was it.
Wow. Yeah. See, for me, it was like the story was enough to like suck up the gameplay. And the gameplay wasn't great, so yeah, that's an unpopular one because holy shit, The Last of Us so good.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to The Last of Us 2. I probably won't be buying it, and Ben probably will get it, and I'll probably play 5 minutes of it and call it good.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I honestly have no care to play the second one. I don't give a shit about Ellie or any of that stuff.
Can't believe what I'm hearing. Okay. All right. So those are our unpopular opinions. If you have unpopular opinions, tweet them at us and we'll tell you they suck because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be
unpopular opinions because they most likely will not agree with us.
That's right. But that takes us to the weekly trivia challenge.
Sweet.
Now, this week you get a chance at a little bit of redemption. You can tie up Andrew for second place. So, this week's trivia question. What home video game console was highly popular amongst audiophiles, specifically as it was seen as an extremely high-fidelity CD player that was capable of rivaling the best in the market, or the best that the market had to offer? Was it A, the Nintendo 64, B, the PlayStation 2, C, the Xbox, or D, the PlayStation?
Ooh. Well, I know it's not the N64 because the disk drive system never came to the US. I don't think it was the PlayStation 1. I think it's either the PlayStation 2 or the Xbox. I'm gonna go with PlayStation 2.
Final answer?
Yep.
Well, you are incorrect.
Sweet.
It was the PlayStation 1.
Was it really? Wow, okay.
In fact, it was the early version of the PlayStation 1. Not only the fat one, but the older fat one with with different outputs.
Yep.
And a lot of like really, really big audiophiles back then would do like blind sound tests and listen to the PlayStation versus like CD players that cost like literally $2,000 and hooked up to the same sound system. So like they would isolate the variables and basically make it, this is the PlayStation as a CD player versus this CD player that's $2,000. And a lot of people couldn't tell the difference.
I thought you were going to throw a wrench in there and tell me this is Philips CDI, and then I was going to be really, really scared.
No. So, yeah, the PlayStation 1 was a very specific version. You do have to find the right SKU. But the PlayStation 1 was an extremely high-quality CD player.
Good to know.
So
I might have to get a new PlayStation 1.
You don't make up any ground. You're in third place. We got Ben at 5, Andrew at 3, Nathan at 1, and you at 2. Now, that's all we've got for you guys tonight.
As often as I'm on this, I'm okay with it.
That's true. That's fair enough. That's all we've got for you guys tonight. If you like what you heard, don't forget to subscribe on whatever platform you found us on. If you just can't get enough, you can check out our website, coldnorthpro.com, for everything we do all in one spot. And that does include our movies podcast, Hard Reset, the podcast that watches bad movies. Nope, that's not the name of the movies podcast. The movies podcast is called No Refunds, the podcast that watches bad movies so you don't have to.
And they're not always bad.
Apparently. This week we watched the 2018 Snooze Fest, Tomb Raider, and we even had a special episode out about what we all thought was actually a good movie, Avengers Endgame. We will be back. Spoilers ahead. Spoilers ahead. We will be back next week discussing whatever it is that happens in the next week or so. Tim, anything you want to plug?
For this next week? Nope, I'm on vacation. I'm going to enjoy the hell of it and probably get sunburned 2 or 3 more times by the time I'm done.
Where can we find you on Twitter or Twitch?
Well, you can't find me on Twitter because I don't ever use it. If you want to look me up, it's @rackanai_. I don't use it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, twitch.tv/rackanai. Again, I won't be home for like a week, but that's usually where I do all my streaming, mostly 3 or 4 times a week. So yeah, Go follow.
Nice. And you can find me on Twitter and occasionally on Twitch @TheLawMorris. My name is Patrick. Reset.
Shoop-de-whoop.